Many of you may know Muhammad Ali died on Friday. He was 74. Yeah, so he just died. So there's been a lot about him. And Dan, who was up here yesterday, wrote me, and he said, I just wanted to share this with you. Being a former boxer when I was younger, I was enamored by Ali's boxing greatness. But as I got a bit older, and perhaps hopefully a bit wiser, I began to see that it was not Ali's wealth, nor his accomplishments in the boxing ring that were what made him great. Rather, I really began to admire him for his generosity, charity, kind heart, and his gift for using his fame to build bridges of understanding and unite people of different races and religions. In this way, he was truly great and an inspiration to me and millions of others. And then Dan sent a link to one article about Ali, and it was on a website called Mashable, like mashed potatoes, Mashable, under the entertainment section. But there was a picture of Ali with His Holiness there. And when His Holiness was in Bloomington, Indiana, doing the Kala Chakra, there was also a picture of him with the Pope, with one of the UN, what do you call it, General? Yeah, Attorney General. What? Secretary General, yeah. And with a Catholic nun, and And then there was this adorable video. Apparently they had it in a classroom in a school where they asked some of the kids to come up in the front of the room and just talk about why they liked Muhammad Ali. But the kids didn't know that he was standing in back of them. So while they're talking, he comes out, and it's so amazing to see these kids' faces, just really beautiful. And then also there was another link to a video. I didn't watch the whole video, but I just excerpted a part of it because he was in England, and one little kid asked him, "What are you going to do when you retire from boxing?" So he started going, saying, I'll have a nice rest, kind of like what His Holiness says, when he gets enlightened, then he'll have a good rest. But okay, so this was in 1977 that this child asked him. So so Ali pretended, to be sleeping. And then he got serious. Life is not really long, he said. Let's say the average person is 30 years old. If you're 30 years old, you're not but about 7 years old, he continued, accounting for sleep time, classroom hours, time spent consuming entertainment. Yeah, so this is exactly what the Lam Rim talks about in the death meditation, that we sleep for a third of our lives at least. Then you eat, then you bathe, then you have to go here and there and other. And so he's saying, in 30 more years, I'll be 65. In those 30 years, I have to sleep 9 years. I have to travel. Out of 30 years, I might have about 16 years to be productive. And then he said, and what's the best thing I can do? Get ready to meet God. Yeah? So he was an incredibly spiritual person who really looked beyond his fame, his wealth, all that kind of stuff, and was questioning what's really important in life. Yeah? He came from a different spiritual tradition than we follow, but that doesn't matter. He was still looking beyond ego. Okay, so then I thought I'd just share a little bit from another article about him. So as we say goodbye to the champ, the legacy he left outside the ring remains just as important as the one inside. Muhammad Ali dedicated his life, both locally and globally, to help those in need and to work towards gender, economic, and racial equality. So some of you may know that when he was drafted into the armed forces during the Vietnam War, he applied for conscientious objector status. This was in the prime years of his career. The draft board refused it, and it revoked his license to be able to fight, to do the sport. So during his prime years, he couldn't do that. And it took 3.5 years until the Supreme Court overturned the decision of the draft board. But he stood by his principles. I really admire that. To me, it's shocking that they would strip him of his title in the same way as, do you remember in 1968, the two guys who were running for the U.S., and when they got the first and second places, I think it was, I forget what it is, but in Mexico City, and they raised their fist, and they were stripped of their Olympic titles. How can you do that just because of somebody's political beliefs? That doesn't make any sense to me. But I really admire these people who stick up for what they believe, even though their worldly gain suffers because of it. So Ali worked generously with the Make-A-Wish Foundation and the Special Olympics. He visited soup kitchens and raised money through celebrity fight nights. I've always wanted to be more than just a boxer, Ali said, more than just the 3-time heavyweight champion. I wanted to use my fame and this face that everyone knows so well to help uplift and inspire people around the world. Religious tolerance also played a large role in his life. Though he was devoutly Muslim, he regularly met with leaders of other faiths to impart a greater understanding between the religions of the world. Rivers, ponds, lakes, and streams, they all have different names, but they all contain water, he said. So religions all have different names, but they all contain the same truths. And he said that when they asked him about 9/11. Yeah. I think the people of our religion should be tolerant and understand people believe different things. It's a shame that this tolerance didn't happen before. His work extended globally, too. The United Nations named Ali a messenger of peace in 1998 because of his work with developing nations. He came to the UN in 1978 to address the UN Special Committee Against Apartheid with a message of peace and spirituality. He brings people from all races together by preaching healing to everyone, irrespective of race, religion, or age. Over the years, Mr. Ali has been a relentless advocate for people in need and a significant humanitarian actor in the developing world, supporting relief and development initiatives and hand-delivering food and medical supplies to hospitals, street children, and orphanages in Africa and Asia, and also Cuba. Okay, so he traveled with the Disarm Education Fund and the Direct Relief International to deliver $1.2 million of medicine and medicinal supply to Cuba in 1998. He brought humanitarian aid to Ivory Coast. He made mission trips to both Afghanistan and North Korea to promote goodwill. Okay, returning back to Louisville, Kentucky, his hometown, he set up the Muhammad Ali Center in 2005 with the goal of bringing his mission of opportunity and assistance to his community. So the center has had programs that exemplify his principles, and the mission of the center reads, over the past decade, the center has developed impactful programming serving children and adults, reaching people of all cultures, nationality, ages, and geographic areas. And the center focuses around educational opportunities, programs to promote gender equality in all areas and inspiring global citizenship. Okay. And so one of his daughters said, today we are in greater need of heroes like my father, especially in a sports culture where athletes seem to be chasing fame merely for the pleasure of making money or breaking records. That was his daughter, Hannah. His daughter wrote about him in 11. There's little awareness of the responsibilities that accompany fame. I extend my gratitude to my father. Helping strangers in need has always been his insatiable drive. And there was one one short clip on the web of one man whose parent was in the hospital in Louisville at the same time Muhammad Ali's mother was in the hospital, and this man was like so worried about his parent dying, and he said that Ali just came over to him, put his hand on his shoulders and said, "It will be okay." And so this man, he was a white man, he was sobbing when he heard that Ali had died. So, some of the news things make him out, he was the greatest athlete of the century, but this is the stuff that really makes him great and what he's remembered for, by people who value more than wealth and fame. So.
When he got too old to box, it wasn't like he hung up his gloves and disappeared into his whatever he had accumulated. It was like his life almost started to be lived in a very, very different way.
Right. And he had Parkinson's, and he became a great advocate for doing research into Parkinson's, donated a lot of money for that to try and find a cure. So he really reached out. Like you said, even when he retired, he didn't just sit back around the pool and drink martinis all day, and watch TV. He really did something quite meaningful with his life and traveled and really benefited people.
I read even his impetus for learning how to box. He had a new bike when he was a kid, and it got stolen, and he was so angry. And a wise adult by him said, "Put your anger here, and train yourself. Do that instead."
Right. Yeah. So instead of being angry and just wanting to punt, do something else. Use the energy of your anger and put it in a good way. And he did that. Yeah. Yeah. So. Mm-hmm.
I think at one point he was the most widely known living human on the planet.
Yeah, that's what some people were saying. Yeah. So please make prayers for his good rebirth, so that his kind heart, really continues on in a manifest way in all of his future lives, and so that he's able to meet the path and practice it, attain awakening, and be of great benefit. Yeah. And let's pray that all people who have fame, either from sports or talent in some way or political power, that they all have this wish to be of benefit to others in society. That they put their fame to good use.